This is Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks, and you're listening to the Kayfabe Connection, your home for facts, rumors, knowledge, trivia, and everything you know or hope to know about pro wrestling.
Welcome once again to another episode of Kayfabe Connection, your home for facts, rumors, knowledge, trivia, and everything you know or hope to know about pro wrestling. Join once again, Brothers of Destruction, Larry and Logan, New Orleans, Louisiana in the building. What's going on, fellas?
Whoa, what up?
Another day in quarantine America.
And speaking of being bored in quarantine, which I never am, thanks to the good folks at Arcade 1-Up. Shout out to Arcade 1-Up. This is not wrestling related. Your boy just wants to get Star Wars and Pac-Man. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but if it's free, I'll take it. So the good folks at Arcade 1-Up, I'd love to pimp your products out on this wrestling podcast. So,
and please do an Alien versus Predator cabinet. We need that.
Right.
That was like one of my favorite arcade games. Yeah.
We have a barcade in Indy, and my birthday, we went there on like the cap because it was like a full day of stuff, and that was the last activity we had planned. And people were kind of trailing off. Hey man, back when you could dap your boy and like give him a hug, those were the days. Hey, happy birthday, man!
I don't remember that.
Right? Hey man, happy birthday! Me and wifey were both strapped up on the Alien game, like side by side. And it got to the point everybody was leaving. It was later into the evening. It was going towards 11 o'clock. And it was a work night. And we're halfway through the game. And I look at wifey. She's like, man, my shoulder's kind of hurt. And I'm like, you want to stay and beat it, though? Because there's no quarters. It's just barcade style. You just keep hitting the start and go.
Right.
We spent over an hour. It was like an hour and like 12 minutes or something. We beat the Alien game on my birthday. It was hilarious. That shit is addictive. Yeah. Imagine having that in like your basement or something. That would never get
a lot of quarters on that.
The T2 game, remember that?
Yeah.
That was at every bowling alley, like in America. They had to have had the T2 game.
Remember the WrestleFest?
WrestleFest.
Hey,
Arcade would love to get the license for that, man. That would be sick.
What about Run and Gun? Probably like the best basketball game back in the day.
I actually used to like Run and Gun more than NBA Jam, even though they weren't licensed NBA players.
It was more realistic at the time.
Yeah.
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 Jordan was like number 99.
Just like the camera angle too, like the front to back, that long way court vision. Yeah, I used to like that game.
So first off, Dynamite this week. Tony Khan kind of hyped it up on Twitter. It's always tough when you get on, you're like, all right, guys, this is going to be the best wrestling show since the quarantine started. Well, wait, I know we use a naughty word now. We can't monetize it, whatever. This is going to be the best Dynamite show since the C word took over. I don't know if it was my favorite episode, but I did enjoy it. It was solid. I feel like they got away from the humdrum sort of like nothing's really happening stuff to now there's an actual event coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing will take place. Won't be in Vegas with fans. It'll take place somewhere, but they're putting on the pay-per-view. There's a lot of scuttlebutt as expected by people. We'll cover that in a little bit, but just overall thoughts on Dynamite this week.
Well, like you said, it's like hard to, because I know Tony Khan, he's just trying to sell the product and get people to watch it. But, I mean, after you say it's going to be the greatest show and then it's not, it's kind of like underwhelming. Yeah. Like, even if it would have been a good show, it would, like, he already hyped it up and built it as, like, the greatest show ever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it had some good moments. Like, we're in, like, dire times right now, and it's hard to put together, like, a perfect show, I guess. But this is a pretty decent show compared to the last couple of weeks.
Logan, I know you're big on this guy, Wardlow.
The last 2 weeks right now. He's been the guy to watch the last 2 weeks. Like, if you go back and watch anything,
dude, the move with like the dropping off the rope and like just like a knee to the face.
And I don't think he did that the last week.
Like, that must be something new.
He pulled that out of the hat.
Right.
He was watching. He got inspired by somebody. He was watching that one. Yeah, it's not the typical punch kick wrestler.
Right.
As you infamously stated, Logan hates certain companies that have the big guys that just breathe and slam. Like, it's so basic and lazy.
Right.
This dude, like, I will say one thing that does annoy me that's stereotypical is the generic like death metal theme. It's just like with the double bass and blah blah blah, and you're just. I love metal. I mean, you can see there's an Anthrax, there's a Black Flag. Shout out to those bands. Some of the big four. I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, please hire Jim Johnston or something.
Switch it up a little bit. I love metal more. I'm a metalhead.
It feels like he's gonna kill somebody though.
That's why I like AJ Styles had a rap song, and it's like hick dudes that are rapping it. It's just like the demigod. That's different. It's like that's the only thing about his character presentation. Everything is perfectly like perfect for no pun intended. Perfect 10. I know he works in the company.
Shout out to Curtis Axel.
Works. Like everything works for him. But if there's any critique, it's like, man, the generic death metal is just. It's like every wrestling podcast too is just like starting off like, this is Kyle's wrestling talk podcast. And it's like, we're like, we get it. You're a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, can we get some boom bap or some like MF Doom type?
Right.
Chris Hero has a good theme. Is indie theme. Like,
Chris Hero, yeah. Kings of Wrestling was tight. Remember that?
Matt Riddle's theme.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and we're talking about themes. I know we trailed away from Dynamite. Now we're talking about themes though. When it was the Royal Rumble when AJ debuted, and that we didn't even go down there for that. There was a big storm, and we're just like, me and Ben were like, oh, $20 for the Rumble tickets? Done. Dude comes out, it was Hot Sauce Tracy Williams taking on this long-haired dude that used to be in the UFC, Matt Riddle. And I remember I was getting some hot dogs. I got your boy had 3 hot dogs because, you guys won't know where I'm from. I love hot dogs. And I'm coming to my seat and I heard Regulator and I was like, and I didn't see who was coming out. My wife looked at me, she goes, who's this goofy white dude coming out to Warren I almost dropped my hot dogs laughing because he's barefoot and coming out to Warren G. I'm like, dude, this is hilarious. And that match was a banger. Matt Riddle, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams match. It was early Evolve, they were cutting their teeth in Evolve then.
That might have to be a triple threat for another time, favorite 3 wrestling things. But shout out to this guy I once knew, Shane Strickland. He had some great music too.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to Shane Strickland, but
an old friend. I don't talk to anymore.
Yeah. Coming out to Shaka Khan, that's epic.
Right.
Nobody. Yeah.
Dude,
I was mowing the lawn and I was listening to Pat Benatar's "Do You Want to Touch?" and all I can think of is us at Joey Janela and David Starr coming out to that. And I'm I had goosebumps. This is so hilarious. It's so awesome. I like that. I like when people just step out of the ordinary. So, yeah. One critique we got on Twitter at the letter K FAB Connection. Go ahead and follow us. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button.
Instagram, YouTube, all of that.
Follow us on Instagram. The Instagram's live. We're live, pal. We got posting just memes, pictures, just all kinds of stuff. We're gonna poll. We'll alert you on there with new episodes when they drop. So yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Kayfabe Connection. Follow us. A lot of the scuttlebutt was I'm not real big on the bubbly bunch. There's this feeling that heel stable groups have to all wear leather coats and burn burn cigars in people's eye sockets. You can be a bad guy and be funny. Look at Freddy Krueger. And that's the thing too. He went from scary to now you're rooting against the kids. You don't want the kids to beat him. You're rooting for Freddy. Or it's that Bugs Bunny sort of humor where it's just cheeky and you get over on the person and it's funny. But they still can do dastardly things and be, assholes. And you go, I don't really like them, but I dig them. I don't I prefer the baby face over them, but they're cool. And that's what I think they go for when they go with the goofy stuff, is just to be cool and to be funny. What are you guys' thoughts on that? The inner circle kind of being more comedic instead of bad.
I get it what they're trying to do, because they're trying to tap into the TikTok generation. I'm willing to bet Sammy Guevara has a lot to do with these videos because he's younger and he's good with the YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. But like you said, it seems kind of forced sometimes. Because Jericho could just you saw what he did with the bubbly stuff. That was just something he just came up with off the cuff and wound up selling merch for a year. Right. So I think sometimes they're trying to force things and capitalize off of it, but like you say, it's not working all the time. But I find some of the moments kind of funny.
Same.
What you were saying, Logan?
I don't look at it that hard because I just think that he's just trying to fill time. You know what I'm saying? There's only so many matches that he could film.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a filler to me, so I don't, see any harm in it. Like,
exactly. Yeah. What? And I'm gonna refill on my water. I've been having a scratchy throat, probably from all the talking I've been doing for work. I'm gonna go get some water, but you guys share your thoughts on Lance Archer, because that was another kind of that was the talking point against AEW. They don't have any big men. What are you guys' thoughts on Lance Archer? His match this week, of course, the main event versus Dustin, and then also him as a character. I'm gonna go refill here. You guys,
you Larry, you want Dr.
Lance Archer
first?
Lance Archer, I don't even know where to begin with him.
Right.
This dude is over, I don't know if he's 43, 44, something like that.
Right.
But he's having the best matches on TV every week.
Yep.
Just the music, the theme, the hairstyle, the entrance, it's a complete package with him, and that's something that they've been missing right now. He's a legit monster heel right now, and that's the one thing that they've been missing on the roster, and I think they have it with him.
Right. And, I've been watching him since he was in, not to beat my drum, I've been watching him since he was in TNA.
Lance Hoyt.
And just to see his progression from, he was Lance Hoyt to this big monster guy with SES. And now, he's in AEW killing it. And, he's awesome.
I do kind of miss him in New Japan because I like him and Davey Boy together, but I mean, I don't want to do anything with him.
Right.
But Kelly Elise was probably one of my top 2 favorite tag teams at the moment.
Right.
But he's long overdue for another singles push because, like you say, he hasn't had one since TNA.
Exactly.
So I could see him being a upper mid card or main eventer in AEW for a while, I think.
Right. And then just pair him with Jake the Snake Roberts too, one of the best guys.
Yeah, that was genius.
Right. He don't need to talk himself, But he can talk. We know that.
And the crazy thing is, you forget how tall Jake the Snake is when he stands next to Lance Hoyt. He's almost neck and neck with him.
Right.
I say Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer. I mean, I forget how tall Jake Roberts is.
Yeah, man. I love Lance. He kind of low key was the MVP of G1. One of them at least. He put on a great showing at G1 this past year.
Yeah.
And that kind of won me over on him. And I knew of him. I mean, he's a grizzled vet, but he really shined in the G1. And that was I think it was between night 1 and night 6.
Right.
He's putting on some bangers. And I was like, man, and not that it's not a shade to be Lance Archer match didn't really pique my interest like others, but he was kind of, you kind of get lost in the fray in New Japan. They have their, their Beatles, so to speak.
Well, that's what I was just saying. Tag team, the sky was the limit with them, him and Davey Boy as a tag team,
man.
Yeah. Right.
But they, for some reason, tag teams aren't valued there, and it's funny because Gato is a lifetime tag team wrestler.
Still,
but that's the one thing he doesn't book well. I have one gripe with New Japan. I don't have any gripes with New Japan, but if I have one, it's the tag team booking.
Uh-oh, Dion, if Dion's listening to this, it might be fighting words. He might be ready to debate. Shout out to SOS Wrestling Network, our boy Dion, the New Japan gatekeeper. we love Dion over here, former co-host.
Shout out to Dion, yeah.
Shout out to D. But yeah, so AEW had 2 solid matches, and Darby Allin, man, there was a lot of people, it seemed, who voiced their displeasure with him not going over, and some even using the B word that rhymes with curry, bury, dury. He got buried. I hate that's one thing. People throw around that B word in wrestling. He got buried, and you're like, dude, come on, man,
Right.
I think with Darby, he is someone where it doesn't hurt for him to lose a couple times.
That's his MO. He's Tommy Dreamer.
And we known that since the company started. Like that's his character. So why
Tommy
is it
Dreamer. Just go back and watch Tommy Dreamer's like ECW run. That was his story. Like he always lost, and that makes the moment when he finally wins. It makes it that much greater.
Better. Yep, exactly. The fact that people are getting pissed off already and they're like, man, look what they're doing with Darby. Like, they're burying him. Look at what they're doing with his character. Cody didn't need to. When you get that, you see it's kind of like the Daniel Bryan stuff with him not being in the Mania main event. And then, of course, we knew what happened. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not. But either way, people are really getting, their panties in a bunch over Darby Allin, and rightfully so. I remember he was just like the dude that did all the wrist moves in Evolve. He brought the body bag out. I'm like, oh, he's cool. That name just started growing on me. His matches became like must-see. All the Evolve shows back when I was watching Evolve on a frequent basis, Darby Allin was like, that's the match I want to see on the card. And now he's doing the same thing in AEW. The theme works, skateboarding to the ring, the body bag, the coffin drop, like
the vignettes, the black and white vignettes, everything.
Yeah, the vignettes, the stuff that he did with Sammy, I thought was great. Their match at Revolution, I was lucky enough to be there live. It was a banger, man. Like it was so good, and like the ovation that he got, the pop that he got when he came out. That dude, I looked at everybody around me. I'm like, he's already better than Jeff Hardy, and like everybody's like,
right,
whoa, like,
like I think Cody is still the most over person in AEW, I think, but Darby is like right there.
Speaking of great theme songs, dude.
Oh yeah,
Cody. Nothing better when you're live and you get to do the whoa with everybody.
It's like the American version of Suzuki's theme,
right?
You know, right?
Is it Downstate? Like, Downstate? Shout out to Downstate for blessing us with another great wrestling theme song. Yeah, I feel like the universe is speaking to us as wrestling themes this week. We might have to do that as a triple threat next week. But yeah, overall, AEW had a solid show this week. I don't know if I would co-sign Tony Khan and be like, it's the greatest they've done, but it was solid, man. It was a great episode. So that brings us to the next thing, Double or Nothing. They announced Double or Nothing is taking place in May this month. It is May 1st. What matches do you think we're going to see here at Double or Nothing? We already know one, the finals for the TNT title. It's going to be Lance Archer taking on Cody Rhodes. They thrown in this Dustin element to it, to where the whole throwing the towel, and
right.
Could we see any friction there? Any kind of run-ins? There's all kinds of possibilities we could throw in there.
Right.
What are your thoughts on? Okay, first off, who do you think is going to win the TNT title between those two, and then we'll kind of go from there.
I see Cody winning it. Possibly Dustin might run in and help him, maybe because he got beaten up so bad last week. So that might be how that plays out. But I'm just waiting to see how the title look. That's what I'm really waiting on. Because I don't think they really showed a picture of it yet. Yeah. So I'm just waiting to see how they look.
Just like the TNT logo.
Yeah, it'd probably be cool with the TNT logo.
Are the side plates going to be all the type movies that they show? Like, like we got like a Transformer side plate.
Blue Streak.
Like a Con
so basically it's going to be the Mark Wahlberg title. Like every Mark Wahlberg movie.
Blade.
It's going to have Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson on the side.
Central Intelligence. He probably playing that tonight, I bet.
Shacked and a Fool. We're going to get a Shacked and a Fool segment for Dynamite. Yeah, man. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
I think – go ahead. I was about to say my pick for you.
No, go. Yeah.
Oh, well, I think Cody, it's a smart play to put Cody as a champ because, I mean, he had stipulation a while back about him not winning the world title.
Exactly.
And I think he's going to hold that forever, that stipulation, I think. So the smart thing is for him to elevate the TNT title for a while and maybe hold it for like a year or whatever. I think it's a smart play.
What about Jeff guys out there that say he's putting himself over? He's like Jeff Jarrett or Triple H.
Yeah, he's Kevin Nash.
He's just
booking a dusty.
himself.
He's booking a dusty finish.
Who won the MJF Cody match at Revolution? Just wondering if you guys watched, right? Who won the match? Did Cody go? Oh, that's right, he didn't. Okay.
Oh, I just thought about something. What if, because you know, Cody loves doing this towel gimmick with throwing the towel, like he's trying to bring that back like the 1980s. Like, what if that plays into the match? Well, like Dustin Rhodes throws in a towel and maybe he turns heel on Cody.
Because that's how MJF did too.
Yeah, and it turns into a blood feud, like brother versus brother for the TNT title down the line.
I could see that. Yeah. Man, what I'm really jonesing for is a Luchasaurus Lance Archer feud.
Right.
Yeah, we need that.
I think that steam kind of went down a little bit. The Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, like.
That's because there's no crowds. There's no crowds.
No, but I'm just talking about even before all this happened. Just seeing like the steam went down a little bit.
Got injured though, so
that's
the big detriment. He's kind of the third piece to that. They kind of need each other to kind of flourish. You know who else is suffering too without a crowd? Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Big time, more than anybody, I think.
Yeah.
He is that is the gimmick. You need a crowd for that. Like, look at the Pac match. Can you imagine if the Pac match happened in an empty arena like now? Wouldn't have had the same
trash.
That shit was incredible with the crowd. It was so fun. Everybody was laughing and the energy kind of built the match. It just goes to show. Now, also speaking of that too, they're also talking about Cody tweeted out that in a couple weeks they're going to go back to filming live tapings of Dynamite.
Wow.
To me, like, why even go through the trouble of doing it live if there's no crowd? Like, it doesn't make any difference if it's live or tape.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that you're putting your workers in harm's way by having them fly to the arena or drive or whatever.
Right.
Now, from what I hear, it's going to be live 1 week, and then they're going to tape the next week's episode, and they're going to keep on that rotation for a while, I'm guessing. I'm guessing the reason they're doing it, too, is to bring new, fresh faces in, because all the episodes we've seen has been a bunch of matches that they tape, like that for that weekend a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they want to bring in some newer, fresh faces that we haven't seen in a while.
Right.
But still, I wouldn't do it because you put people in harm's way. And like I said, there's no crowd, so why even go through the trouble of making it a live broadcast?
And it goes back to haunt them because they're supposed to be the progressive company. Like.
Yeah, but at the same time, we had I forget who it was on Twitter. We retweeted them. They had brought up the fact that they're not a publicly traded company. They are not firing people during a pandemic. They're putting over during an empty arena sort of era that we're in right now. All the above. So comparing the corporate giant that is WWE to what AEW is doing is apples to VHS tapes, because they're actually doing some good and they're not costing people their jobs during this time either.
And they're putting homegrown talent on national TV too.
Right.
Yeah, and I know my door is closed currently in the Mankind Cave, but proverbially speaking, my door is always open to debate. You know, if you want to debate facts, not emotions, but facts.
Right.
I'm not pontificating on this. It's just it is what it is, man. Like you can't sit here and compare like they're both one and the same as far as their treatment towards this in live air episodes. Do I agree? Like Larry said, do we agree? Maybe it doesn't really make sense to me to do live before, like Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it, we'll do it live. It doesn't. No shout out to him.
Maybe it's in that TNT contract too that they have to.
Yeah, and we don't know the ins and outs of that. So whatever they think the best decision is, cool. But again, they're not laying people off during this, and they're doing what they need to do to get the ball rolling here. So that's all I'll say about that. All right. What other matches would you guys like to see at Double or Nothing? Could we see? Is it too early to blow the load on Bucks versus the Revival?
I was getting ready to say that. Part of me, like, I really want them to wait until we have a crowd, but God knows when that's going to happen. So
right.
so might as well just do it now.
It's like
Right.
what Brody Lee said. They gave Brody Lee the option because it sucks, man. They were in Rochester. He's from there. Like, he was going to have this big reveal. It was a swerve because everybody thought it was going to be Hardy. And I think, what was it, Talk is Jericho, when he talks about that, and Tony Khan went to him and said, hey, I mean, you can opt out and, like, we can save this for a rainy day kind of thing. And he was like, no, because in his mind, it's like, I don't know. I've been sitting long enough in the other company because, you know, my country accent was off, or whatever the fuck, my wife beater wasn't sweaty enough, whatever the fuck the hang up was for him not being pushed.
Right.
So I just want to do it. I want to wrestle. I think the same's probably going to be said with Revival. I don't know their psyche, but something to me says they're probably going to be in that same vein as Brody Lee. They've been sitting on the bench shaving each other's backs and shit on TV, like eating catering and not wrestling. Like, they're probably fired up to have a banger match. And crowd, no crowd, Bucks Revival will be a banger. Like, people thought the Hangman Omega tag at Revolution was like an all-time match. Hold on to your butts, like Sam Jackson said. Hold on to your butts for Revival and Bucks, because that match, I think that match could potentially outdo the Omega Hangman tag match against
Man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, that was a banger.
super banger. Like, I was just sitting there, like, smiling just the whole time in the crowd. Like, I wasn't looking at my phone. I wasn't worried about anything. I was just sitting there just watching. That match was so good. The pacing was done so well. The psych outs with Omega and Hangman. Are we going to get a heel turn? The nuances of it. And, you know, Larry brought up that point. Certain companies, even New Japan. Fuck, I got a Wrestle Kingdom shirt. We're sitting here clowning about the tag division in New Japan. We can be objective about this stuff. Their tag team division's weak. The way they treat it, it's weak. You know, it's repetitive. It's weak. There's a lot of nuances to the tag division in AEW, and the sky's the limit, and they're just going to get stronger and stronger.
Right.
What other matches do you think we could see? Who's Moxley going to go up against?
That's what I'm
just sitting there
wondering.
thinking
I don't see who he could go up against right now because he haven't been hyping up anybody.
You know, a match that I thought of just now that hasn't happened in this company yet. Darby and Jimmy Havoc. I feel like Jimmy Havoc's been on the road lately on TV.
Yeah.
Like, I think those two have a crazy match.
What about Matt Hardy versus Chris Jericho?
I think we're getting that at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
They went the blood and guts route, and then they made the decision, which I think was in the right decision, to hold off and wait for that to be a crowd sort of, you know, match with a whole crowd in attendance. But I think Jericho Hardy can get you through the hump of this. You know, it can really, the dynamic of those two, and especially on the mic, that can take us several months into the summer of just funny, compelling TV that's hilarious. And there's people that don't like the Vanguard stuff and think it's cheesy and whatever, but okay, go watch Firefly Funhouse or a Boneyard or whatever you're into. Like, it's not all dudes in black tights that punch each other and say shit and ass and are badass, for lack of a better phrase. There's dynamic to character. There's comedy. There's wrestling is theater. There's going to be elements that people don't like, to each their own. I dig it. It's just a thing particularly I dig. So I enjoy that feud. I think there's a lot of footing to it. So I think you're right, Logan. I think that's probably like co-main event status. I mean, who challenges Moxley, man? Are we still sticking with the Inner Circle?
I'm guessing we don't get the answer Wednesday because he did say in that vignette that he would be there live. So I'm guessing somebody's going to come to the ring and challenge him for the belt.
Now, is it too soon to go the Brody Lee route?
He's been on TV a lot, though. I mean,
almost like a Kane Austin kind of thing, where it was like, it's not rushed, but it's kind of like, that's
he needs something, huh?
Like, he needs a heel. He needs somebody to kind of, and who knows? Maybe you could have. I don't want to say DQ finish. I'm definitely not a fan of DQ title finishes, especially if it's the main event. But maybe you could debut a new Dark Order member. Maybe, but there could be a lot of interaction of the Dark Order, like beating down Moxley. And I think what's funny about that is there was a lot of hate for Dark Circle. We can now turn this now with the Brody Lee stuff and really build momentum on the Dark Order, really being a force and not being like fat jobber indie dudes that have a mask on from Party City, like, oh, spooky wrestling.
Right.
You could really gear it towards outnumbering people and make them look like a threat. They're beating up the champ. What other way can you build them up than them looking strong against the champs?
Right.
Now, you know what I really miss, what I was excited for right before all of this pandemic mess started? The Pac and Lucha Brothers stable.
The Death Triangle?
And the sky was the limit for those people. Like, man.
Right. And now Pac is stuck over in his country.
Yeah, so I don't know when we're going to get that. And the Lucha Brothers are stuck in their country, too.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, the restrictions are being eased a little bit right now, so, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But obviously, booking is not in the hands just of the booker. Their booking is really kind of up in the air with where they go with things right now. So I think they'll still put together a solid show. Fight Network pay-per-view, I know we'll definitely be watching. I don't know if we're going to do watch party or we're definitely going to be covering it on the podcast. One thing we will be doing a watch party for, it will be for Money in the Bank, because that will be hilarious.
Grabbing the brass ring.
Oh yeah, the corporate Money in the Bank at the Stamford Tower. We will be doing that. That's going to be not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So you'll get a new episode Friday, and then we'll have another bonus episode. We'll be doing a watch party next Sunday for Money in the Bank, which will definitely be hilarious. So there's that too. Let's talk about some other stuff. Dark Side of the Ring. Just this season has just been like so good, man. And Logan, you brought up a great point. Every single, and it's funny too, it's like, ooh, the dark side of the undercurrent of wrestling, the dark nature of it. What is the common denominator in all these stories, Logan?
It's that the fingers point right back to Vince McMahon.
One man. Are all these guys bitter? All of these guys are bitter.
Yeah, he must
all
be
making stuff up and exaggerating. It's just sheer hyperbole across the board for the last 4 decades from numbers, countless of people. It's just all scuttlebutt. It's all fugazi, just rumors and bitterness and just come on, man. Really? To quote The Miz, really? Yeah, man.
I can't wait till that Owen Hart episode.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. I don't know if we brought it up on the podcast. Where were you when you found out? Like, what were you doing when that happened?
We didn't order that show. We was just kind of just sitting, you know.
I could tell you what I was. I was sitting in my parents' living room on an Apple computer. I think it was like a 1996 Apple Performer. Yeah. Updating. Refreshing the WrestleZone page for updates. And I remember seeing the headline come out like Owen Hart died. I was like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. And then the fact that the show went on after that.
Right. And just, you know, on what Blue Blazer was supposed to be facing the Godfather that night, right? Just let that sink in for all you people who think that
was
the greatest.
Greatest ever.
Dude's gonna be facing
ever. So good. Man, it was so good seeing Steve Blackman. Dude, come on, man. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
I was with my cousin Josh. I think we were, I forget, I don't know if we were at my grandma's. We were somewhere because I remember my grandma used to tape the pay-per-views and Raws and stuff. We'd have them on VHS tapes. But I remember us watching, and we got Little Caesars. And it flashed up. It was Godfather, Blue Blazer. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go get some more pizza, and went into the kitchen to get pizza. My cousin's like, yo, you gotta come in here, dude. Owen Hart's dead. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? They just They just said they were wrestling. What do you mean he's dead? What happened? And then it was that infamous call by JR, and it's just like your heart just sinks. And yeah, I mean, I know people were asking too about, oh, have you seen the footage and stuff like that? And I didn't seek it. It was one of those things, someone sent it to me and sent like pictures and like graphic stuff. Like, I'm not into that stuff. So yeah, any friends that are watching us or people that know me that actually have access to this thing here that send me stuff, yeah, don't send me stuff like that. That shit hurts my soul, man. I can't watch that stuff.
I've never seen it, never want to see it.
But yeah, I agree with Logan. That shit's gonna be, whoo. If his wife's speaking on the topic,
Social media is gonna be something to be on that day.
there's gonna be a lot of opinions that night when that Dark Side of the Ring airs.
Yeah.
Dude, the David Schultz episode was so hilarious, man. Like, how's Hogan gonna hoe out all these people, dude? Like, it just goes to show. I know it's not show friends, it's show business, but
whoever knew Hulk Hogan lived in a van.
Right? Some friend I used to know, an old friend.
Right.
All these episodes are, man, they're intriguing. And we were talking off podcast about like what would be a good topic for like future episodes. Larry brought up the best one, dude, the plane ride from hell. Like, we need a plane ride from hell, Dark Side of the Ring. Dude, the reenactments, like somebody with the flare robe, like flashing the stewardess with the balloon tied around her tail. You just see the robe and like a balloon starts floating up. Like, dude, fucking Kurt Hennig and Lesnar in a shoot fight, like bumping into the emergency door, almost opening the emergency door. Dude, can you imagine? Like, that shit, craziness. So yeah, I think this season's been hot and heavy. I mean, they did the Benoit thing. I mean,
they came out the gates with it.
Yeah, there's no darker story in wrestling than that. The Snuka, I mean, that's up there too.
Right.
I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy that they shed light into it. But even with like the Benoit story, the fact that they showed David reunited with family members that he hadn't spoken to, and they ended it on that note, man. That was just job well done, because all these things are so exploitive in nature, and especially like the David Schultz thing with the interviewer, that guy, like, oh my, what a weasel. And there's so many people like those Bob Costas, people that just stick their nose up at wrestling. And the thing that they forget is, and it's something we preach all the time between the three of us, is that there's more to wrestling than just one company from New York.
Right.
And so the problem is people lump everything in with WWE. I'll tell people I watch wrestling, like Hulk Hogan and stuff, like they don't know. Like that's the thing that they go to immediately. And it's like, no, I don't like the cartoon shit. I like wrestling, like wrestling holds and maneuvers. And
yeah, Vince has successfully done what he always wanted to do, rebranded. Yeah.
Not cartoon shit, soap opera shit. And there is goofy stuff in all companies. There's silly stuff, but there's also dark stuff to it. But again, how many dark stories side of the ring have you seen about WCW or New Japan or ECW or AWA or Mid-South or, like you could go Smoky Mountain.
AWA, all of that stuff.
Yeah, you could go on and on. But it's funny, the common denominator, again, is one company, one person over and over and over again. So that starts piquing your interest of, maybe there's something to all this.
Right.
So, yeah, man, those Dark Side of the Rings have been terrific. I've enjoyed them. Vice, if you get the Vice channel. If not, they're on YouTube like the next day. Typically for me, I watch them in the morning, and it's a good view. 45 minutes. It's easy to digest, quick to get through. So check them out. Check them out if you can. They've already done a season before this. So yeah, Dark Side of the Ring, man, they're good. Larry hit me privately here. It says here, there's an article that says Roman Reigns and WWE's relationship does not look good right now. Which disc of the Rise and Fall of WWE DVD? Like, which disc? Is this disc 5?
Yeah, we're on 5 now, yeah.
We're on disc 5 now. Started disc 5. This was
the fact that I sent another one saying that Sami Zayn pulled out the TV tapings.
Wow.
Well, that's another thing, too. That's good to bring up. A good transition here. It's been brought up in several wrestling sources have posted this. This isn't from like Body Slam / /Reddit sub. There's a lot of talk about WWE now being like, fuck it. They went super lax on the releasing of superstars. Before it was like this hoarding mentality where we're just gonna we're Pokemon, we want them all, collect them all.
Right.
And you've seen guys like Brody Lee, both Revival members, other people who were like, hey, can you please release me? I just want to get out and just wrestle. No, you're going to eat chicken parm and catering and, watch Elias fall onto a crash mat with Corbin. So now it appears that WWE has now told the roster, if you want to go. Like, we'll release you. We're not going to play games anymore. That kind of seems like Pandora's box. And I know things are different right now because of what's happening, and that secured money, that guaranteed sort of contract money is helpful in these situations. But I think there's still purist wrestling type individuals that work for that company that they want out. They don't want to be handcuffed anymore. Any people you see having the balls to step up, and the reason I brought up, you talked about Sami Zayn getting pulled off the tapings. Could we see a Generico back?
Man, I would love it.
I hope so.
And hopefully that's the seed that's planted. I know Kevin Owens signed up until 2023 or some shit like that, or 2020.
Yeah, I think so.
Something outrageous.
I think it's 23. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe that'll be the seed that gets planted to where they can you imagine them just going balls to the wall in another company, fucking package pile drivers again? Just
How old is Sting right now?
30s. I don't know exact age, but still well within his youth to have some good years in front of him. He's still got some years in front of him rather than behind him.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's my top 3 right there. There's 3 names that, like, who are 3 people that right now you own a wrestling fed, you can get them if you can, sweet talk them out of their contract and get them over. They've said they'll release you if you want out. Give me Steen, Generico, and Claudio. Give me those 3. Those are the 3 I want. It's criminal that we've not seen Cesaro in main event caliber matches with time. Giving him time to go.
I don't understand, because he seems like the quote unquote Vince guy, so he has a look. Like, I don't understand why he's not getting pushed.
He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Like, clearly he was getting pushed.
He never got a title shot after that.
Dude, remember Stone Cold with the ether on Vince McMahon on the Stone Cold podcast when they were talking about Cesaro?
Yeah.
Grabbing the brass ring. You could see Vince was shook because he's like, well, he's just, the crowd's not responding, and he just and then you got the beaver in the back like, oh, I don't like his accent, like, oh, he's not from here, so the crowd won't connect with him. Like, go eat some wood and build a dam, player. Shut up, dude. Yeah, so I mean, it's people's lives. We get selfish as wrestling fans. We're like, yo, so-and-so should quit. They're humans. They're not cartoon characters. They're real humans that have families and need to support their families. They have homes, mortgages, bills, like we all do. But selfishly, as a wrestling fan, yes, please, wrestling gods, give us back Claudio, Generico, and Kevin Steen. Please and thank you.
Right.
Moose is your interim TNA heavyweight champion. We'll see if Tessa. And this is a good gimmick because Tessa hates black people. So
it writes itself.
All kidding aside, Moose is seemingly the interim TNA champion. He came out at the Rebellion show with the OG TNA belt. Fun,
Ultimate Warrior gear.
Warrior get up, hit the Warrior moves. Moose, funny thing about Moose, I was at ROH Best in the World. Wifey got us tickets, ringside tickets at that. She's a great gift giver. For the Best in the World, it was in Nashville, and that was the show that main evented. It was Adam Cole versus Michael Elgin for the belt. That was Steen's last pay-per-view match against Silas Young. That's where ROH ripped me off with the Thanks Steen Thanks and made a lot of money off those shirts. because I actually spoke with an ROH official, and he kind of was like, made that off cuff, like, oh yeah, you got us. Like, I held up a Steen Thinks sign, and Steen pointed out in the crowd, and then all of a sudden that was the name of his DVD, and there were shirts selling, and you're like, wait a minute. Can you cut me like some tickets or something?
So you're like the Jay Dilla Saved My Life wrestler. The Jay Dilla Saved My Life shirt.
I need a Ma Dukes. I need a shout out to Ma Dukes. Yeah, there you go. We got Dilla right there. Shout out to Ma Dukes. I need a Ma Dukes type to like help me get some money from ROH, because man, they were bootlegging the shit out of my sign. But anyways, yeah. So we went there, and what the hell were we even talking about? I lost track. Threw me off with the Dilla stuff. Moose, yeah. Moose was 2 seats down from us, and we're ringside, and it's like, I forget the interview, or it might have been Larry. I haven't seen him on social media either. The ring announcer, he does the boxing ring announcing too, Larry. But anyways, he was interviewing Moose, and Moose was like, yeah, I just I forget the verbatim of it, but he's like, yeah, I'm gonna try my best, and I'm just really looking forward to the opportunity. It's like a generic babyface promo. Dude next to me yells out, and you could probably go back and watch it. You could probably hear it. Dude next to me goes, you need to work on your promo skills. But it was, but it was said almost in a way like, I like you, and it's just, here's a like constructive criticism. It was like, you suck, like you can't speak, or like, it was just, right. Hey, you need to work on your promo skills in that cadence. That to me was just so funny, because it was like kind of like a backhand compliment. Like he was just trying to give him a little bit of, some knowledge there to work with. But yeah, ever since then, Moose, we've all followed his career. Everybody thought he was signing with NXT. Everybody thought. And good thing he didn't, because he probably would have wrestled Donovan Dijak for the 97th time right now. Or Damian Priest, or whatever the fuck their names are over there.
He would have been making Children's Hospital visits with Titus O'Neil by now.
You would have thought though.
This would have paired them together.
Right. Vince like animal name, so you would have thought he would have fit right in.
Moose, yeah. Look at him. Yeah. He's like a moose. He's like an animal. Yeah.
He would have gave him a woman and a manager. Her name would have been like what's the Boris and Natalia? Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Shout out to Rocky and Bullwinkle. That went way over the 20-something kids' heads. They were like, who's Rocky and Bullwinkle? They did a couple whack movies with Ferris Bueller, right? Moose, you talk about improvement. Moose has really elevated his game. He did like the Coming to America character, which was kind of cheeky for him. You just think, and that's the thing I love about Moose. He breaks those stereotypical barriers of like big men. Big men can't be funny. They have to breathe heavy and be serious, but also they can't be comedic.
Right.
You don't want to get thrown into the Big Show levels of comedic where you're wearing diapers and shit and you're just the goofy guy. But you can still shed some of your character and not just be the angry dude that spits and breathes heavy. And Moose has so much charisma. And for a guy that came from football, it's like he knew that chip was on his shoulder. I had a couple of conversations with him early on. We actually were eating wings in the Evolve after party thing in Ybor City at the Orpheum. And we were all eating wings. It was me, him, and AR Fox. We're over there eating wings and just shooting the shit. And he's just so humble to me. Like, he's just a cool guy. Like, it's cool. Just, he had his head on straight. He had goals. He was modest. He's like, yo, do you think I did okay? Like, that kind of modesty to the game. Because he knows, like, you're an ex-football player in wrestling, dude. They're going to accost you.
Right. They're
going to hate your guts. So, Moose, I think, has really navigated through wrestling his own way. He didn't go the NXT route like people thought.
He left ROH for TNA at the time, which a lot of people were like, why are you doing that?
It was a bad move, right?
Yeah.
He's a champ. I'm not going to throw any shade at Delirious, but look at ACH, Cedric. I mean, there's things I'm not throwing anything out there. I'm just saying, look at the track record. I'm covering my face. It's kind kind of one of those subjects, but
I think he was on Ross podcast one time, and he was naming like all these New Japan wrestlers and stuff like from back in the day, and I was like, wow, this guy, he really knows his.
Yeah, he's not a jock like trying to make money off of wrestling. Like shout out to Baron Corbin, the grill master. Like he's actually
like George Foreman said, it's like
like
you like steaks. You like steaks and whiskey and cigars.
Nobody gives a damn about your aged brisket. Dude, give me a 3-star match.
40 days. You're smoking up some meat, fella. Who wants to see? You know, I use this Memphis dry rub tonight. Like, yeah. So,
and he also has one of the best. Like, other than Okada, I can't name a better drop kick.
Woo, Moose.
Wrestling right now.
Yeah,
easily.
His drop kick clean.
That drop kick, dude. Man, so yeah, Moose, great guy. So happy for him. I hope they really stick with him with the title. You're gonna get some bangers with Elgin because Elgin's in the mix right now with Moose. Elgin Moose, man, you'll get some definite big man bangers out of that. So that's a summer feud you could work with there for the rest of the summer. You know.
Yep.
So it probably won't be as good as Jinder versus McIntyre, but. You know, it'll probably be like right up there with it. But yeah, all seriousness, I like Drew. Shout out to Drew for being the champ right now.
Yeah, Drew.
Speaking of champions,
Speaking
of champions, heavyweight champions.
He's the reason why the ratings are low over there.
Oh God, yeah. Here we go with those talking points.
Yeah, blame it on him.
We got our triple threat for tonight. Final segment of the night. Triple threat. Tonight's triple threat match. One fall. Top 3 title designs, heavyweight title designs. We're not talking about prestige or lineage because that's the easy go-to, we know. We're just talking about sheer art, just sheer design, favorite titles. 3 titles, heavyweight titles. Who wants to start first?
I go first.
Logan's ready. He's itching. All right, hit me with it.
All right. I would say that I would so
wait, say it again. I lost you.
Honorary titles. Are we doing that also? Because I'm gonna leave something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my first one will probably be the Wayne Eagle. I know that's all you guys will pick that because that's really
the Scratch Eagle. Scratch Eagle or like the old Stone Cold one before that?
The one that Bret Hart was wearing, like in the New Generation era.
Yeah, the Scratch one was like the big ass plate, like it was like real big. Eagle was super big. Yeah.
Number 2, I have to go with the WCW title. I mean, the Big Goat.
Yeah.
That title design is like probably the best. Like, if I was to categorize all 3 of them, that would be number 1. And my third one would be the IWGP.
Larry, what do you got?
My honorary also would be the Impact title.
Okay.
Which one?
Which
the
one?
Bobby Roode one, like the.
Yeah, the Bobby Roode one.
Clean, yeah.
But yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, Larry, what do you got?
All right, for the third one, I'm gonna go like full on. Like I'm about to go my generation. I'm about to go with the $1 million belt.
Whoa!
Just because I'm from that era. Everything about that belt was perfect. Like Ted DiBiase, like one of the best heels ever. It was gaudy on purpose. It had a bunch of diamonds on it, which I found out later it was just CZs. But as a kid, I didn't know any better. I thought it was real diamonds. It looked good on TV.
Right.
Those are 10s, but I keep them clean though.
Yeah. Just the fact it wasn't like contested a bunch, but he just made it like a major. He made it a major title. Like the fact that Virgil used to hold it in like the red velvet bag or whatever. Yeah, like always protected it. Never get fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
Like if I had
that,
huh?
Did he ever defend that? He defended.
I think he wrestled for it a couple times, but I know Steve Austin might be the only other guy I know that held it. Ringmaster. Yeah, not Steve Austin, the Ringmaster. Yeah, that's
so lame, man.
That dumb shit. That's another topic for another day. The best promo guys. He just came off an ECW run. and you silence them and turn them into the ringmaster.
Well, that's basically like they do now.
Well, yeah.
Same thing.
Well, yeah, but anyway, $1 million belt, that's my third choice. And number 2, I had to think about this. I might have to go with the Wing Eagle, just because, like Logan said, I mean, when you think of the belt, I think of Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart. And that's pretty much like the first 2 wrestlers I fell in love with as a kid. Like, those are my 2 favorite wrestlers as a kid. Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time. And I felt like he elevated that belt and made it like a true world championship, because he took it all over the world, defended it. And, you know, Bret, he took everything serious. Like, that belt meant the world to him, and you could tell. It came through the television.
On the magazine cover with it around his waist, like that design just looked like you were the real deal. Like,
I hated when they got rid of the Wing Eagle and gave us that circular looking belt that the Rock used. Man, I hated that belt.
That wasn't that bad though.
I can't stand that belt.
I was just watching Triple H come out with that the other day. I was looking at him and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Well, that's because probably Triple H was wearing it. Like, I mean,
he made the belt look good. Like,
yeah. I mean, all jokes aside, I Triple H, like 2000 to 2005 Triple H.
Oh, he was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he said some questionable things during that time, but
oh man,
that's another topic.
Yeah,
topic for another time, fellas.
As far as in the ring, yeah, Triple H, he made that belt look good, but there's nothing on the Wing Eagle belt. And then for my final choice, of course, y'all know what I'm gonna pick: the IWGP strap.
Right.
It just, I mean, something about that belt, it just looks prestigious. Like, even with like the names, yeah, the one that they're currently using.
Yeah.
Have you held it?
No, I haven't.
Dude, like I was sitting there like Dave Chappelle when he was signing for the weed and like and Half Baked. It's wild, man. And it's heavy. It's so heavy.
It looks heavy.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. I held it with Naito and I think Okada and maybe another AJ Styles. Held it 3 times.
Just the fact that they have the names on the side and everything. Like,
I was looking at it like you're reading it. It's like, this is beautiful, man.
It's wrestling history on the belt.
Mm-hmm.
But for my whatchamacallit, my
honorable mentions,
I'm gonna have to say the big gold belt, because just for the same reason I love the IWGP belt, I could have said the same about the big gold. Like, This is like a prestigious belt. It's gaudy and flashy and like everything a world championship belt should be.
Yeah.
And then for another pick, I would have to go with even though it's brand new, the AEW belt. Because it actually reminds me a lot of the it's kind of a hybrid between the big gold and the IWGP belt, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%.
Also, the first wrestler we saw on camera to hold that belt, Bret Hart. So just the fact that he touched it made it that much greater. The GOAT.
Oh. You know what? I wanted to throw the AEW title in. That's my honorary. Yeah.
Shout out to the old NWA, the big gold belt too, because it's simplistic and it's perfect. Like, it's the way it is.
Yep.
Well, to wrap it up, honorable mention, man, I gotta go Jeff Hardy TNA belt, the Willow title, and it was so no, I'm just kidding. That shit. I'm an artist. This is my art. Like, dude, that shit was garbage.
The Fiend belt looked better than that.
Garbage. The Divas belt. That looked like the Divas butterfly.
Yeah, with the butterfly. Yeah.
Honorable mention, definitely got to go AEW. We've already hit that subject. The reasons why it is kind of like a hybrid looking title appearance wise. It's just so shiny. That huge title. So AEW title. Another one I got to go with is the ECW heavyweight title. And
I thought about that.
Dude, it's got like barbed wire pattern on the strap and like blood on the belt. Like, it's so dope.
Didn't it have skin in the inside?
Yeah, I'm about to say it had red snakeskin on the inside, didn't it?
Yeah, and I used to own the title. I sold it, and it's like that's one of those things I kind of lament about on rainy days. I look out of the rainy windowsill and like, man, I miss my ACW title.
So I would have bought that off you.
Right? quick pay status. But who knows? That belt could get got down the road. I think it's on Shop. I think it's on WWE Shop. WWE Shop.com. So yeah, honorable mentions there. Top 3. NWA title. I'm talking about the Dusty belt. I'm talking about the Harley Race belt. So many greats that have held it. NWA, all the countries on it, dude. It's just so. There's.
It's a world's belt.
I know we're not going off lineage and history because that's another topic, but just the belt presentation with the countries on it. You're like, people say like it bugs some people in sports when we're like, we're the world champs, and they're like, yeah, but you only played like teams in America. Right. That's like, you went against everybody. You are the world champion. They got all the countries on the plates, like the dude's grappling. Like, it's just it's got that classic like trophy feel to it. It's such a beautiful belt. That's one belt I'd love to have one day. Dusty Rhodes and Piper are like 1A and 1B to me for like all-time favorites. So I'm impartial to a degree with this, but I'm also kind of biased because Dusty had the belt. Another belt Dusty had, one incarnation of it was the big gold. That's number 2. You had that bronze sort of looking big gold that was kind of more wide, like stretched out, almost like in the video game where you're like, like it's kind of what the bronze version looked like that Dusty had. But dude, Ric Flair, Dusty, the list goes on and on of all the people who held it. But just from the look alone, the big gold belt, that's how infamous it is. It's the big gold belt. You say that, you already know what it is. It's the WCW heavyweight title, not the whack shit that Eric Bischoff gave to Triple H in a suitcase. Talking about that big gold belt. Dude, it even looks sick on Goldberg, somebody who's very limited as far as wrestling goes. But belt on Goldberg, just that presentation, you're like, that dude's the man. Like, that's the dude right there.
That's the one thing I hate about Vader's title run. It was like during the Ric Flair and WWF period where he took the belt with him. Yeah. So they had to make a new WCW belt.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good. Yeah.
Rest in peace, man from Boulder, Colorado. Last but not least, not to bite Larry, I think it's all our favorites. IWGP Heavyweight Champion, the current version. The names of the history are on the side plates. Diamonds upon diamonds, rubies, the lion mark on there, that IWGP font just hits different. You know, like, it's such a beautifully crafted, it is the perfect belt to me. It is the perfect wrestling belt, considering the history is all on the side plates, and then just the presentation of the front plate, the lion mark on it. It's not big and like, there's not gaudy logos on it. Like, it's just I don't want to say it's simple because it's more intricate than simple, but it's just the perfect belt. It's beautiful. Again, I've held it like 3 times. I've been lucky enough to hold it for a couple seconds. I remember AJ Styles was clowning Jay Lethal because Jay Lethal had the TV title in ROH at the time. And AJ's like, man, look at this wimpy ass belt. He's like, I'll set my belt and just cover it right up. And like, he set the IWGP and it just covered the entire TV title. Jay Lethal's like, man, you know, why you got to do that? And like, that was hilarious. So yeah, the IWGP title, beautiful belt. So yeah, that's our triple threat. Enjoyed today's podcast, man. Things are still rolling right now with wrestling, and we got a good solid show out of AEW. We got Double or Nothing coming up. Money in the Bank is going to be hilarious. So the month of May is going to give us plenty to talk about. Hoping for positive news and positive stories to come out, both in wrestling and not. But anything you guys want to plug or anything else before we put a bow on this week's episode?
Larry?
I always want to plug our apparel line, fullydressedapparel.com. Check that out. We are shipping right now. Orders might take a little bit longer than usual because of the pandemic. There you go. Fred's holding up one of designs. That's one of my favorite designs, actually. But yeah, fullydressedapparel.com. Check us out on Instagram at fullydressedapparel. And order yourself a hat, a t-shirt.
Right.
Nobody's getting a haircut right now, so it makes sense to buy a hat right now.
Right.
We have plenty of hats to pick and choose from.
Your boy's got the Bradley Cooper Star is Born going right now, so I'm tell me something, girl. I'm over here just killing it right now. Yeah, man. Fully Dressed Apparel. Follow on Instagram. Go to Fully Dressed Apparel. The shirts are super comfy. Like this Wrestle Kingdom shirt, it's the same thing. It's not that like walking around like Urkel because you're walking around like a hanger and you're
Yeah, the boxing WWE shot.
yeah, it's form fitting. It looks good on you. It's
Don't
comfortable,
scratch
especially
it.
now. Like you guys live in New Orleans, it gets sweaty and hot down there, like
Yeah.
80 degrees. You need something comfortable. You don't want something that's itchy and just horrible. So, Fully Dressed Apparel, great clothing brand. I know it's not hoodie season even where I am because I'm up in the Midwest, but I love hoodies. So I wear hoodies around the house because I keep my temperature about 66. People think I'm crazy, but I like it nice and cool in my house. So I rock hoodies even in the summer.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing one right now. Actually, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool in here.
Yeah.
I just got the AC fixed, so it's like blowing like crazy right now.
Yeah, so
Right.
get a hoodie, get a hat, get a shirt. Just I can't preach it enough, man. And then this isn't something, oh, it's my friend's brand. I'm gonna throw it out there. Like I actually dig the brand. The designs are just fun. It's based on culture too. It's not just some cheesy like box logo and that's it. There's a lot of creativeness that goes into the product. So I support it 100%, and you should too. So Fully Dressed Apparel. That's it. That's it for another episode of Kayfabe Connection. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the damn button down here. Hit the little bell. Ding, or whatever Griselda noises, like whatever your phone does to notify you when we drop new stuff. We're going to drop more than Friday episodes. Again, we got the Money in the Bank coming up next Sunday. We'll have that as a bonus episode. We'll be weekly Friday as you know it.
And don't forget to tell them to put your triple threat pics on YouTube.
The comment section.
On the comment section, yeah.
You're looking down at the comment section.
Right.
And YouTube just moved it to where the comments are actually up right underneath the video. So comment in the videos. What's your triple threat? We're going to post to Instagram too. What's your triple threat for the title belt designs? No judgment here. We want to know. We want to hear from you. It's more than just 3 voices. We want to hear more voices in the mix here. So engage. Let us know what you think. But with that being said, that's it for another episode of Kayfabe Connection. Next time someone tells you wrestling's fake, you know how you tell them. So are movies and TV.